back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys, so I am here today to talk to you about an event that I went to and show you some books that I was given whilst I was there. It was a really cute event. It was held up in London in a very small cafe, and it was quite a small event. I think there were only about 20-25 people, including the authors themselves and the publisher and a couple of bloggers and reviewers who were invited along. And it was an event for a small independent publisher who are called Troika books. They largely publish young adult and children's fiction, but they do that across the spectrum. So it's contemporary, fantasy, all sorts of things within the kind of age categorization. So I was quite intrigued. I hadn't heard of them before they reached out to me about this event, and I took one of my friends along with me to go to the event and sort of see what it was all about and hopefully just find some really cool books to show you guys and talk about. And the event was absolutely lovely. They had put out all of these spreads of amazing food. They had all of their authors there to talk about their books and you could chat to them. And they were just super, super friendly as a company and a publisher. So I would thoroughly recommend checking them out, especially if you have younger brothers and sisters who might want to read things, or if you personally love reading YA. They are definitely a publisher to look into. They publish kind of more diverse, interesting, controversial topics and books. So I think possibly it's going to be something a lot of you will be interested in. And I wanted to share a little bit of footage from the event when I went. So I have some snippets of some of the authors talking about their books, which I will insert. And then I'm going to show you the books that I got given at the event and that I took home with me. So here is the footage I took whilst I was at the event.
So I've imagined in this book, The Blue-Eyed Aborigine, the new edition is coming out next week. This is the old edition. I've described the shipwreck, the mutiny and the massacre that went on the islands, but also I've then imagined, because that is all very well recorded in the commander's diary, so I also imagined what may have happened to these two young men.
There are very few books written about sexual assault in the UK. And this is the only one that's set in the British Asian community. So it's about a 15-year-old girl called Jane, and she goes from a life of riches to rags. She struggles to cope with life in the new household, and then she's brutally assaulted. So the book follows Jane as she tries to find a way through the trauma, finds a way back to a relationship with her mother. And yeah, it's pretty hard hitting. It's not graphic, but yes, you will need a few boxing tissues. And you might get to learn, unless you're Asian, lots of stuff about British Asians and the way that they kind of have to try and negotiate between living in this kind of world and then living in a world behind a door where things are very different. And yeah, it's going to be there. So I hope you all like it and want to shout about it.
There are two children in there who live. One lives in the comic cafe, and the other one lives in the comic shop. And they hero worship a superhero called Komodo Jones, who was illustrated. So there's a graphic novel element at the beginning, and it was illustrated by an amazing illustrator in Zimbabwe called Eugene Ramirez Macfarlane, who I've been working internationally with lots of emails and Skype conversations to create a strong female superhero. And he's made an amazing video of him talking about us working together and about drawing the character. So if anybody's interested, I can send that across. And the book was inspired by an event I own, Tales on Moon Lane Children's Bookshop around the corner, and we just opened another one in Catford, which is dedicated to raising equality in children's books, equality of representation, access, and roles in the publishing industry to try and encourage children from different backgrounds into publishing and how we can support that. And this sort of, all of the ideas for all the various things I was doing came together really in this book. And it's also got a male character in who's quite emotional and doesn't have to be the hero all the time. So there's a bit of sort of playing around with gender roles and expectations and that sort of thing. I hope you enjoy it.
My books are this series, the Help series, Help I'm an Alien is first, and Help I'm a Genius is second, and Help I'm a Detective is out this very soon when I finish doing the proofs. These books came about because when I was writing them, my children were of that sort of age, and the books that they were reading were like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The World According to Norm, and it was at a point when boys' humour was like the tag word within publishing. And when I read those books, I just found them totally frustrating because they had no story. We've got three friends. The lead character is Daniel. He feels that he's outside of his society. Feels that in the first one, he convinces himself he must be an alien because he certainly has nothing in common with his human family. And in the second one, he feels totally outbrained by everyone in his family. They're all really, really clever, and he's the dunce. And yet he gets selected to represent his school in a national Brainiac championship.
So that is all of the footage I took whilst I was there. I didn't want to take too much because I wanted to live in the moment and actually talk to people as well. But I did pick up quite a few of the books whilst I was there. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about them right now. So the first one I picked up is this one, The Uncracked Code, featuring Komodo Jones, Comic Shop Mysteries, Book 1. And this is by Tamara Macfarlane and illustrated by Eugene Ramirez Mapondera. And this is, as it says, it's kind of a graphic novel in a way, because it starts out very much like a graphic novel with the illustrations. As you can see, it's black and white, but it looks very clean and clear, which is exactly the style that I like. And then later on, it goes into more of a book with some comic issues sort of scattered in between. The Cosmic Comic Shop and Cafe are about to close down. The only thing that can save them is a rare first edition hand-drawn comic that's worth tons of money, but it's been stolen from its display case. Inspired by their favourite superhero from a comic, Komodo Jones, and a lifetime of comic book knowledge, can two friends, Zach and Coco, pick up some much-needed sleuthing skills in time to save Cosmic? So it's all about these two friends just trying to save their local comic shop, which I think is going to be quite fun. It's not too long, it sounds quite cute and interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to kind of getting my teeth into this one. I do think this is one I'll read, but I also think this might be one I end up giving to my younger brother because it sounds like it could be something he's into as well. So that's quite cool. He's 11 years old. The next two books I picked up are definitely going straight to my younger brother, and that is these two. Help, I'm an Alien by Jo Franklin and Help, I'm a Genius by Jo Franklin. This author certainly was super friendly and lovely when I met her at the event. She said she just wanted to write something that was a little bit different in the kids market. She knew that there were a lot of books around that focused on kind of boy humour, and they were just humour. They didn't really have an awful lot of story to them, and she wanted to do something a bit different and just bring things a bit more into themes and ideas and friendship and all of the sort of stuff you want your kids to be reading about, I guess, but also with all the fun still in there. The next book I picked up, actually the author wasn't there, she couldn't make it for some reason, but this one had such a beautiful cover I just couldn't resist, and it has a circus tent on it, so I mean, I'm gonna pick it up. It's by Sarah Matthias and it's a Berlin love song. It says, Max is a German schoolboy. When he meets Lily, the trapeze artist from a travelling circus that performs every year in Berlin, Lily is a Romani and her life and customs are very different from those of Max and his family. Their friendship turns to love, but love between a German and a Romani is definitely forbidden. As Max is conscripted into the SS and war tears them apart, can their love survive? So it sounds like it's definitely got elements of the circus, of military aspects, and also just young love, forbidden love. I'm definitely up for that sort of thing. So the cover's stunning, the book sounds good, and I will definitely keep this one for me to read at some point. Up next, I picked up this one. This one is called Hidden, and it's by Miriam Halami. Alex lives near the beach on Hailing Island. It's a quiet backwater far removed from world events. One cold day in winter when they're walking on the beach, Alex and her schoolmate Samir pull a drowning man out of the freezing sea. He turns out to be an illegal immigrant, and he's desperate not to be found and deported. Faced with the most difficult decision of their lives, what will Alex and Samir do, and who can they trust? So this one, as I say, it deals with something very controversial. How far would you go to help a stranger, and especially someone who is in such a dire situation as travelling across the sea, trying to immigrate into a country that they may not be welcome in? It sounds as though it's going to deal with some really heavy topics, and I hope that it handles those topics really sensitively and well, but it's definitely something that's interesting and something I want to read about. So really looking forward to reading this one, I must admit. And then finally, the last one I picked up at the event was this one, The Girl in the Broken Mirror, and this is by Savita Kalhan. I absolutely loved this author when I met her. She was so friendly and absolutely welcoming. She talked to us about her book in detail and told us that it is kind of a blend, and it kind of looks at a cross between Indian and British culture. We follow a young girl as she and her mother move in with really strict family, distant relatives who are Indian, and they have very intense rules that they have to follow, and they're very strict. The main character, Jay, is expected only to be friends with Indians if she's friends with anyone at all, but it's only the beginning of the nightmare for Jay. When her life implodes, how can she hide the shame, and how will she find a way to keep on going? I believe she has some sort of horrible traumatic experience. I just think it's going to be, again, a really hard hitter, something very contemporary and modern, something that sounds like it's going to be quite interesting, and again, hopefully something that's handled really sensitively and done very well. This one is a YA one, much like the last, so I'm, again, going to definitely read this one myself, and I'll let you guys know what I think of it. So those are the books I got from the event and some snippets from the event. Such a great little event, and I do think it's great to support sort of smaller publishers. So I'll link their website down below if you fancy kind of looking into any of their other books. They've got some really exciting ones coming up as well that I can't tell you about because they're top secret and sort of on the sly whilst we were there. But some of those sound absolutely wonderful. So I'll definitely be looking out for one or two of them when they eventually come out as well. So that is everything I got. Do let me know your comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.